Welcome everyone to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday Creator Convo. I'm Noel Marshall, and I'm here with my beloved.
Hi, everybody. It's Bob Warner. We are so delighted to have Rosemary with us tonight. We have much to learn. Thank you for bringing your gift to the shift in humanity, or at least one of them.
Exactly right.
We're glad you're all here.
Multi-gifted as we all are, but we're going to learn something very special about Rosemary tonight. So before I introduce Rosemary and go into that, I want to go ahead and play a little bit of a video that tells you about the Co-Creators Convergence and about what we have coming up. So please stand by. So that's a little bit about the Co-Creators Convergence. So now I want to tell you a little bit about my dear friend, Rosemary Zitek. And Rosemary was born and raised in Lansing, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. And she studied Spanish language and business administration. She got her undergraduate at Northern Illinois University. And she included a scholarship to participate in an exchange student program with Centro Andino in Quito, Ecuador. So there she goes, off to the Spanish part of her life. But she's had corporate experiences with Wurlitzer, Oregon, and other, let me see, Pepsi-Cola, Mostek Corporation, a semiconductor company. But for the last 26 years, she has been a resident of Costa Rica while teaching experiences at both public and private institutions. So she always tells us, oh, I got to go to Plurk now. So if you don't know what Plurk is, she loves to play and work at the same time. I'm sorry for the little dog noises in the background. She's very excited to meet Rosemary as well. So she's also a board member of Visionary Ethics Foundation. I'm not familiar with that, so I want to learn more about that. And she is one of the founding members of the Essene fraternity of Costa Rica, the administrative council member for a retreat center in Orosi, Costa Rica, El Minifundo Centro de Luz, Light Center. And she has other facets, addiction recovery coach and mentor. She's also a labyrinth lover. And for those coming to CCC this year, she is going to be doing a process for us. And she loves forest bathing. She's a hot springs junkie and coffee fanatic. She's bringing us coffee. Most of all, I know Rosemary's heart as a conscious evolutionary and peace advocate. So, dear Rosemary, without any further ado, I'm going to welcome everyone here tonight and turn the talking stick over to you, my dear friend. So I know you have a lot planned for us tonight.
Thank you so much, Noel and Bob, for the invitation. And thank you for all you beautiful beings who have taking time out of your busy lives to be here this evening or this morning or this afternoon, wherever you're here from. I'd like to add how I got here. You know, how did I get here? Being a student of Barbara Marx Hubbard since 2015, I actually met Barbara here in Costa Rica when she did a conference on the Pacific coast. And it was the first time that I became familiar with her and her works. And I have to tell you that when she was talking about seeing through the eyes of a butterfly and conscious evolution and metamorphosis, she then held up the cover of her recently published book at that time. The name of that book is The 52 Codes of Conscious Evolution. And on that cover is a blue morpho, much like what you're seeing in the sheet or the fabric that we gifted her when we went to that conference. But when I saw that blue morpho on the front of that book, all I can say is I went into another zone. The resonance was so high because for me, the blue morpho butterfly has been my symbol, my totem, since I moved to Costa Rica in 1996. And to be able to not only see it, but to live it through Barbara's eyes and her work in conscious evolution really set me on a path. So in February of 2015, I signed up for one of her courses. She was doing lots of courses during those years. And in that course called The Sacred Journey of the Conscious Evolutionary, I met many other people just like me who were on the path, expanding and sharing what we were learning from Barbara's work. One of the participants in that class, many of you may know, is our dear Nina Patrick. And when I met her in class, I also then became part of her center, the Milagro World Center, by serving on a council. A keeper's council is what it was called. And that's where I met dear David Powell, who's with us here today. Thank you, David, because in meeting you, you were the one that not only invited me, but inspired me to look into the co-creators convergence. And so I did. That was back in 2018 or 19, I'm not quite sure, but the rest is history because here I am today by the invitation of Bob and Noel. So parallel to this learning about conscious evolution, my life in Costa Rica led me to move to a small mountain sanctuary right outside of San Jose, a small town called Orosi, Costa Rica. And it was in that town that I learned very early on that a man named Dr. Edmond Bordeaux Sique had spent the final years of his life on this planet. He was originally from Transylvania, traveled the world, was a philologist, a linguist, did translations from Aramaic and other languages into French, English, Hungarian. But he actually wrote more than 80 books. And when I started to learn about him in this town and read some of the books that he read, once again, it was instant resonance. He mostly read and spent the last 50 years of his life researching and writing about the Essenes. So with that, I'd like to introduce my topic, and that is the exploration. Here it is, exploring angelology, the Essene communions with the angels. So what is angelology? Well, I'd like to just give just a brief description or definition. And it looks like this. Angelology is actually tapping into the powers or the forces that surround us every day and every evening in the universe. There are cosmic powers that happen at night with the evening communions, and there are day communions that tap into the earthly power. So when you hear the word angels, when I'm speaking tonight, that is the Essene term for powers or forces that are naturally occurring in our world. So let's explore angelology. And to me, the best way to do it is to provide an experience of angelology. Today, Thursday, is the angel of water. And the angel of water is all about our circulation. So I would like to invite you to just simply relax in your chair, take a few deep breaths, and begin to contemplate water. Water on our planet, whether it be rivers, seas, oceans, hot springs, streams, waterfalls. And as you settle into that vision or those visions of the water on our planet, blood that runs through your circulation. And as we settle in, I would like to simply invite you to listen. Let's experience it. Let us enter the eternal and infinite garden of mystery, our spirits in oneness with reverence to our Heavenly Father, our bodies in reverence to our earthly mother and the great masters, and our hearts and minds in reverence with each other and all of creation and the brotherhood of the elect. Angel of water, she who makes the rain to fall on the arid plain, who fills the dry well to overflowing. Yea, we do worship thee, water of life from the heavenly sea. The waters run and flow forward from the never-failing springs. In my blood flow 1,000 pure springs, and vapors, and clouds, and all the waters that spread over all the 7 kingdoms. All the waters the Creator hath made are holy. The voice of the Lord is upon the waters. The God of glory thundereth. The Lord is upon many waters. Angel of water, holy messenger of the earthly mother, enter the blood that flows through me. Wash my body in the rain that falls from the heaven, and give me the water of life. As you absorb those words and contemplate the water, both outside on our planet and within your body, this is how to practice communing with the Essene angels. So let's go on from angelology to talking about the Essenes. Many of you probably have heard of the Essenes, and I would like to just share a bit about their lives, their lifestyle. And let's see here. How did the Essenes live? Well, they lived in brotherhoods, as they were called, and they lived in both Palestine and in Egypt, where they were known as healers or therapists or therapeutae. Their teachings were brought forth by Moses on the tablets, supposedly, and the tablets that Moses brought down the mountain, there were 2. One of them contained exoteric teachings, and the other contained esoteric teachings, which are the angels, the study of the angels or the angelology. And as the story goes, Moses determined that the general public who were worshiping idols, etc., were not ready to receive the esoteric teachings. So he took those away and only presented them to the scholars and those who were ready to receive those teachings. So more on the Essene lifestyle includes that they had a beautiful communion or a beautiful relationship with the natural world. They lived mostly on the shores and banks of rivers and seas, and they practiced a communal lifestyle. They were agriculturalists. Nature was their Bible. They lived simply, and they were known to be extremely practical. A typical day in the life of an Essene was to rise before sunrise, bathe in cold water, wear white clothing, and to study and commune in the morning with that morning angel of that particular day. In the mid-morning, it would be communal gardening, because they lived in cooperatives, in communities where each family had its own dwelling and its own private garden. And there were also community gardens where everyone would share in the labor. To the Essene, labor was not considered work. It was actually considered ways to commune with nature, to study nature, and to absorb the power and the essence that nature could provide. So a typical evening in an Essene lifestyle would be once again studying and communing with the evening angel of the day. Friday evening was the first day of the Essene week. That was considered the Sabbath. During that time, they would invite visitors and they would share a meal, and they ate in silence, only vegetarian. They were 100% vegetarian. And with their visitors, they would discuss, they would study, and they would play musical instruments. Membership in an Essene brotherhood was not easy. First of all, there was a 1-year initiation. And if you made it through that first year, then you had a 3-year trial period. And then after 7 years, you were then given the teachings, especially the one I'm talking about today, and that is the communing with the angels. So I'm personally feeling very fortunate because I've been doing this for 6 years, not 7. So I'm ahead of the game, and I'm really blessed to have found these teachings. So I'd like to go on with Dr. Edmund Bordeaux-Sikli. Who was he? As I mentioned earlier, when I moved to Erosi, I discovered him and his books. And we have a short video clip of him. As I mentioned earlier as well, he's written over 80 books, many of them about the Essenes and their lifestyle. And the key to me that really attracted me to his books was that he wasn't inventing anything new or new age. He studied a lot of Zarathustra and the ancient texts of many of the other religions. And he had the capacity to pull forward to our modern day these wisdom teachings and show us, or show me, how they apply even more so in our modern day society. So let's take a look at the life, a little bit of the life of Dr. Edmund Bordeaux.
I think it is definitely a very great mistake not to live in the 20th century. It's a much greater mistake to live only in the 20th century. So we have wonderful things from ancient cultures which can make our life much fuller and more enjoyable. And I think we lose a lot if we ignore those.
During the time of the Spanish Armada, these great bonfires were lit on top of isolated hills to warn the people of danger. And I think of my father that way. as a blazing fire on an isolated mountain.
Author, philosopher, linguist, student of ancient wisdom, teacher, health guru, and visionary, Edmund Zitek was one of the most influential founders of today's mind, body, spirit health movement. Zitek's teachings and healing practices would inspire people all over the world to take charge of their own health and well-being. His research and adventurous spirit led to extraordinary insights into many challenges those of us in the 21st century still struggle to understand.
There are many dimensions to Professor Zitek that make him unique, in my opinion, as a visionary, not just for the 20th century or for the first half of the 20th century, but I feel even more for the 21st century.
My father always had an entourage of wise friends with him. Many times during the day, he would pause and he would say, "As my good friend Marcus Aurelius once said," and then he would say it in Latin and then translate for the benefit of everybody else. Tranquility is nothing but a good ordering of the mind. Medicine men from many different traditions teach with humor. And my father loved good jokes and good stories. He had a huge laugh and tremendous gusto, and he was a great storyteller.
He was very charismatic and had a booming laugh and a great energy that drew people. And when he came in a room, you knew he was there.
He loved to lecture. He liked the title professor, El Profesor. When you meet a mentor like that, it changes your life. Your whole way of living, your whole way of thinking.
He had an interesting expression, which he took from the Mexicans, which he used all his life. Siempre mejor, always better. Instead of saying good morning or good afternoon or good evening, he'd say siempre mejor. And I know no Spanish at all, but I learned those two words, siempre mejor.
Zitek was a true holistic thinker who gleaned wisdom from all religions, philosophies, and cultures. Most of all, he gathered vast reservoirs of knowledge that would lead to better health for ourselves, our communities, and our planet.
I think one of the reasons why he was so aware of what was lost in the West was because at a very early age, when he was a teenager, he was aware that cultures can break down, that cultures really have a time when they rise and then have a peak period and then they descend, or they can even collapse pretty fast. In the late 30s, then, he summarizes his holistic vision in two incredibly important books. He was very clear on how he wanted to bring the great traditions of the past, the wisdom of all ages, into modern times in order to recover what was lost in modern times.
Edmund Zitek's books brought to life forgotten wisdom traditions based on a holistic understanding of health and vitality, consciousness, and the innate healing forces of nature.
Using simple, accessible language to bring what was most relevant from the past into the present, he was mostly trying to build a bridge for people and to help people make healthier decisions about their lives. And my father's passions took him to every corner of the earth and across all of the ages of civilization and pre-literate cultures as well. My father grew up in Transylvania, in a market town at the far north of Transylvania, nearly to the Czechoslovakian border. At that time, it was a cultural crossroads.
His earliest experience in his childhood is the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. There were Ottoman Turks in the area. There were Romanians, Hungarians, Jews, Austrians.
As a young man, Edmund studied at the University of Cluj, near the great Bathenaeum Library, which houses many ancient manuscripts.
You know, he had to go where it was at in his time. And he did the grand tour. Paris, Berlin, Rome, everywhere in Western Europe and London, of meeting the most prolific writers, the most exciting thinkers.
My father lived for a time in southern France in a village called Aspremont that was in Les Alpes-Maritimes. There was a Zarathustrian community there, a utopian community. They dressed in white and they studied Zoroaster, and they were trying to live a very simple, holistic life.
For Zitek, it wasn't about dogma. It wasn't about titles and robes and official rituals. He wanted to see really what was it, what was the axis that the people lived with? How did they connect to the above? How did they connect to the stars, to the cosmos, and how did they connect to the earth?
So that final question that was posed, how does man connect to the stars? How does man connect to the earth? What is that axis that is the channel for that connection? Before I go into the tree of life, because that's the answer to that question, is the Essene symbol of the tree of life, is the whole cosmology of how we're connected to both the cosmos and to nature on the earth. I'd like to mention and show, this is probably a book that many of you know. This is the Essene Gospel of Peace, which Dr. Bordeaux translated from some of the archives that he was privy to view in the Vatican Library, as well as the library in Habsburg, Vienna, and the library of the British Museum. He was quite a scholar. So when he found these manuscripts, especially the one story that I'd like to share is the one in the Vatican Library. They would not let him take it out, check out the book. But it turns out that he had a photogenic mind. So after viewing those manuscripts, he went and he ended up writing what he saw. And those are supposedly the manuscripts that were left by the Essenes in the caves of Qumran. And this was even before the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in the late 1940s. So his translation, Dr. Bordeaux's translation of the Essene Gospel of Peace, has been around since the late 20s, early 30s. It's been translated into, I don't know how many languages, numerous languages, and it still is available for sale today. It's a classic. At that time, it sold for $1, by the way. I don't know what it is today. So that's a little bit about the professor, who I would consider my mentor, even though he's passed on. And I'd like to now talk about specifically that question again that we were left with on the video. How does man connect through that axis of the center to the cosmic energies, powers, forces, and to those provided by nature? Let's take a look at the tree of life. Contact with the angelic forces is represented by the tree of life. And it was the very essence of daily life of the Essenes. They knew that to be in harmony with these forces, one must make a conscious effort to contact them. The Essenes were spoken of by ancient writers as extremely practical people, and their concepts were not just theories. They knew exactly how to be continually aware of the forces that surrounded them, how to absorb their power and put into action in their daily lives. So when we look at this graphic here on the screen, we can see it's a tree, and this is the tree of life. You notice that there's 7 branches on the top and 7 roots on the bottom. This ties into a lot of the Jewish tradition of the menorah with 7. Then we have 7 days, the 7 chakras. So 7 was a very special number. So when we look at the branches of the tree, they represent the evening communions, and the roots of the tree represent the morning, or the morning communions. So as you can see, I think you can probably read it. Each branch corresponds to a day. So for example, today we did Thursday morning. So if you look down on the bottom here, Thursday morning, angel of water, enter my blood and give the waters of life to my whole body. And that then corresponds to the outside representation of that power, which are our rivers, our creeks, and our inside of our own bodies is our circulation. So that's Thursday morning. The daily practice of the communions with the angels centered on the following. There's 3 points here that I'd like to share. Number 1, is that power or force understood? 2, does the individual feel the significance of the force deeply and sincerely? And 3, is the power used continually and in the best way possible? Those 2 questions guided the understanding and the feeling and the using of each force. And remembering that this is a practice. So every day in the morning, the angel was honored and communed with, and then every day in the evening, the angel was communed with. So let's look more closely at the tree of life. I think we have a video clip coming of it. In the meantime, I think I've said this, but I'll mention it again. In general, the morning communions, which are the roots, refer to the vitality of the body, the organs, the gradual strengthening of the vitality of the organs, and regeneration. Whereas the evening communions are more about tapping into and developing our spiritual powers, which then can expand man's evolution. The symbolic tree of life enabled the Essenes to understand how they were surrounded by forces of the visible world of nature, as well as the powers of the invisible world of the cosmos in the evening. Yeah, I think our video is ready.
Seek the fresh air of the forests, of the fields. Put off your shoes and your clothing and suffer the air to embrace all your body. Then breathe long and deeply that the angel of air may be brought within you. In the air, the water, the earth, plants, sunbeams, in the depths and in the heights, the laws of life speak to you.
My father honored the feminine. The earth was the manifestation of the work of the angels of the earthly mother. The earth was a sacred place. And then that is in balance with his respect of the cosmic forces, of sunlight, of all the unseen forces that also generate life.
Yeah, great. Yes, so as you can see, the chart that we have on the screen now, to the far left are your days, okay, starting with the first day of the Essene week, which is Friday in the evening, and reading across, that communion is with the Heavenly Father. There are noon meditations as well, and they're all about peace, and that will be our next presentation. I didn't get into the noon contemplations this time, but there will be a part 2 if you're interested, and we can talk specifically about those. So then we go over to the column of the morning communions, and on Friday it is the angel of air, breathing, your lungs. Saturday, the angel of eternal life, and then our morning communion is with our earthly mother. Sunday, angel of work. That's tied in heavily with bees and the way bees work in their hives. And then the angel of eternal life, if I'm not mistaken. I can't see it very well. Monday, the angel of peace and angel of life for the morning communion for Monday. Tuesday, the angel of power, Tuesday evening. And then angel of joy is that morning communion. Wednesday, angel of love, and then the angel of the sun for the morning. And then there we are on Thursday once again. Angel of wisdom is in the evening, and our angel of water is in the morning. So these communions, as I've said, are a practice. They strengthen our connection with the forces that surround us and the forces within us, our vitality. So I'd like to share that the communions have 3 objectives. Number 1, they make man conscious of the activities of the different forces and forms of energy which surround us and perpetually flow toward us from nature as well as the cosmos. 2, they make us aware of the organs and our centers within our being which can receive these currents of energy. Number 3, they establish a connection between the organs and these centers and their corresponding forces to absorb, control, and utilize each current to the maximum. So as each of these communions is with a designated force, one is asked to not only read the communion, but to contemplate and meditate upon its meaning so that the power could be absorbed and utilized. So let's watch another video clip. Actually, no, or we can stay here. Is this good? Yeah, okay. So here we go with the morning communion. This is a little different than the previous one. But if you notice on the far right column, it ties in the force as it relates to the human body. So on Saturday, the communion is with the earthly mother. It centers around the food that we take in that day, and it's all about our nutrition. Sunday, the angel of earth is about the regenerative topsoil and growth and grass, and the regeneration of our glands. Monday, the angel of life is all about trees, the strength and longevity of trees. And that ties into our vitality and our life force. Tuesday, the angel of joy is the beauty of nature. The sounds, smells, sights of the nature around us. And it's all about harmony, to be in one with nature. Wednesday, the angel of sun, sunrise, the power of the sun each day on our skin. and it is tied into the fire life. Thursday, angel of water, here we are, our blood, the rivers, etc., and it's all about our circulation. Oops. And then Friday, I've lost my screen. There it is, angel of air, which is our breath and the lungs and the energies of the atmosphere. So these are the forces of the visible realms, or angels of our mornings. And we'll move towards a close here with our evening communions. Again, here they are, starting with our Saturday, angel of eternal life, tapping into the superior planets that surround us in the cosmos, and it's ties into gravity and overcoming gravity. Sunday is the angel of creative work, and as I mentioned, it's all about the bees, and then ties into our creative work as humans. Monday, the angel of peace, ties into the heavenly body of the moon, the crescent moon at that time. And within us is the peace that passes all understanding. Tuesday, angel of power, ties into the cosmos, the stars, superior acts, and inside of our bodies, the axis of the nervous system and the cosmic ocean of life. Wednesday, angel of love, superior feeling, and obviously superior means up above, right? Yeah. And it ties into our emotions, the cosmic ocean of love. Thursday, angel of wisdom, once again, superior thoughts, higher thinking, and then our thinking body. And Friday, our Heavenly Father, the cosmic currents, and the force is the final union with the cosmic ocean. And I'd like to just finish this chart with saying that the ultimate goal of the communions is oneness with the Heavenly Father. And that was what the practices would lead one to in this lifetime. So I believe we have one more video, or no? Yeah.
One of the core symbols in the Essene tradition is the tree of life. And man sits at the base of the tree of life. Half of him is underground with the roots of the tree, and the other half is above ground with the branches that are in the air. And it's symbolic of how man represents the unity of the earthly forces and the cosmic forces. My father talked about longevity in one of his books. He says that longevity was bestowed upon the beings that were of greatest service to all of life, and the greatest longevity was bestowed upon the trees.
Beautiful. So with that, I would like to move toward a closure with our presentation this evening. And you know, the question that's posed to every speaker who's invited to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday convos is, you know, what is my contribution to conscious evolution? And I can honestly say that by practicing the angels, communing with the angels, which is a daily practice for me and will continue till I no longer am here, it has allowed me to not only experience a life of beauty, to be able to connect with nature. And of course, I feel very privileged to be living in a country where 12 months out of the year, I have my windows open, and I don't know if you can hear right now, but it's raining softly here. So we're still in our water phase here. But the idea of being fed, being nurtured by the cosmic forces as well as the earthly forces, and making it my responsibility to not only learn about them, but to tap into them and allow them to be absorbed into my body. To me, that type of practice allows peace to prevail. And as we all know, just like that tree of life, as we looked at with the human in the center, that's each one of us. I don't know if you noticed the red heart in the middle, but that is where one or I can emanate what I am so graciously receiving from the cosmic forces and the earthly forces. So I would like to say that the value of angelology for me, as one of the Essene traditions, can also be valuable for our 21st century life, because these practices can result in an expansion of consciousness, a life of balance, and a life of harmony and personal well-being. So I would like to close and leave you with my gratitude for your presence here today. Gratitude to you, Bob and Noel, for the invitation. Much gratitude to Michael, my tech guy here. I couldn't have done it without you. To my mentor, the professor, Dr. E.B. Zitek, who, as I mentioned, passed from this plane in 1979, but is still very present through his books. And here in Arosi, his house is still here. It's very comforting for me to be close to that. I would also like to mention that here we are on Thursday evening, which at least for me, I don't know what part of the world you may be tuning in from, but here in Costa Rica, it's Thursday evening, which is the Angel of Wisdom, and how appropriate to end our time together today with the Angel of Wisdom. So I will simply sit here and allow you to read the screen as we listen to the sounds of nature as a background. Thank you, everyone. Blessings, and remember, siempre mejor. Siempre mejor. Blessings.
Come on.
Please, everyone, take a breath. Just luxuriate in this beautiful, beautiful presentation, Rosemary. Just outstanding. Thank you. I invite you all to turn on your video. And if you'd like to have a little conversation with our wonderful guest, I'd really feel that'd be appropriate. She's brought us so much wisdom. We've drunk a lot. So We might even be a little punch
Good news is
drunk.
it's only one.
O thou angel of wisdom.
Yeah. So we're going to ask everyone to go ahead and turn on your video if you'd like. And any questions for this beautiful being, this beautiful angel who has brought us such wisdom tonight? So we have,
Remember, I'm simply an initiate. I'm not an expert. I've only got 6 years under my belt. I still have a couple more to go. But it's working.
well, you have some fans on Facebook, I'll tell you that. So Teresa Grace says, thank you, Rosemary, for sharing so much beautiful wisdom regarding the tree of life and angelology. And Olivia saying, thank you so much, Rosemary. Beautiful. And yeah, so this has been
Wow.
just tremendous. I had no idea. Now, how do these angels relate to like Gabriel, Michael?
The best explanation I have for that is they're the same, because every teaching has their own symbology, yeah?
Mhm.
And why the Essenes called these angels, I don't know. But what I do know is that the powers that they represent are similar to the powers of like the archangels, for example, Raphael, green, healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't talk my way out of that one. So I think I'm best saying, I don't know, but it has something to do with 7 and 7 and the powers that surrounds that are ours to use. I mean, they're gifts, but as I mentioned earlier, I have to tap into them. I have to absorb them. I have to use them. That's my responsibility as a human. And I don't just do it for me, right? None of us do what we do for just us. We're all in this.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Yes. Anyone have any questions? Or, I always have questions, but I don't like to dominate things. Looks like Flo is coming on with a question. And Talia, go ahead and unmute yourself.
We might
Father Joe, fix your camera.
Father Joe, tilt your camera down a little bit. Oh, there's Talia. Go ahead.
There's Talia. Go ahead, Talia.
Beautiful. Thank you, Talia.
Am I here?
You are. You're everywhere.
Oh, thank you so much, Rosemary. I don't know if you remember, we were with the Milagro World Center.
Of course.
And you were on our calls regularly. And I miss you. I miss that we wanted to go to see you in Costa Rica and it didn't work out. And I'm hoping it will work out again. And maybe after we come to the Co-Creators Convergence, we will come to Costa Rica. That is our
Beautiful.
plan. And it's I love the way these interconnections happen. And I'm sorry that the Milagro World Center is no longer a place for you, but I mean, it doesn't seem to be a connection, but I'm grateful that it is with Co-Creators Convergence. It seems like a stronger vision of it. I don't know, however it happens. Also, I know I have a couple books, and I don't see her here, but I have, let's see, I had loaned a couple these books to Teresa, what was her name? Hefferman.
Oh, Karen Heffernan.
Karen Hefferman, that's it.
Mhm.
And but I have wondered if you had ever read them, or they were Essenes. Oh, I remember one was my grandmother's
hands.
No, I don't think so. It was my grandmother's, or no. Oh, Anna, grandmother of Jesus.
Oh, yes.
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 Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've
Noel?
read that. Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Bob?
By
Um,
Claire Hartson. Yes, uh-huh.
It
Yes.
may be, but it's about the Essenes. It's a,
Read that again.
you have it?
Yeah,
Because
I have that one.
I don't know. I wonder if Karen still has that copy. She hasn't mentioned it lately. Maybe she passed it on to you or something. Anyway, and then there's another one that we loaned her that's, it might, well,
It's not, I remember Union by Flo
No.
Magdalena.
no, that's a different one.
Okay.
But my grandmother's, no, Anna, grandmother of Jesus. And then there's another one. Have you ever heard of those, Rosemary?
I have. The second one, I think, is a Mary Magdalene title book. I don't remember.
And
But
it may be, and I wish I could find it again. If you see Karen Hefferman,
Sure.
Noel.
Yeah, she's helping out with Peace Week right now. And yeah, she's sorry she's not going to make it to CCC this year.
Oh, yeah. Well,
But,
if you could,
yeah, I'll mention it to her. And she's the one that told me about Anna, grandmother of Jesus. It's very interesting.
oh, yes, yes.
Well, I do have a couple others that want to speak here.
Oh, pardon me, I see Flo there. Yeah.
Yeah, Flo, did you want to jump in? Did you want to say something? I thought you had your hand up there. No? I want to ask, did you say he had a photographic memory. So he saw this tree of life in the Angelology in the Vatican and then went out and wrote that, or is that a separate?
No, it's my understanding that, and actually in this one, the Essene Gospel of Peace, which is actually based on those manuscripts, it talks about it in here. The
Mhm.
angel of water, the angel of, and the term angelology doesn't appear here. But again, I'm not sure where that term came from, but it refers to the tree of life and the powers that are represented by the 7 branches and the 7 roots.
That's fantastic. I want to ask Father Joe, were you ever able to get into the Vatican Library?
Unmute.
You're
Father
muted.
Joe.
You're muted. He studied at the Vatican.
Father Joe studied
Oh,
at the Vatican. Mhm.
Do you know how to unmute there, Father
Yes,
Joe?
he's got it.
There we go. Go ahead.
No, I can't remember ever going into the library. It's very, I think I did, but I never did any research there. By the way, okay, my connection with the Essenes has to do with the 4th gospel. The 4th gospel, it says it's the Gospel of John. Well, it ain't by John. It's by all kinds of authors, and the theory is that the authors. Am I talking?
Yes, you're good.
You're good. You're good.
Authors of who collaborated in bringing us the 4th gospel from the Essene community. And so that 4th gospel, almost none of it is fact. It's all mystical language. And the stories are really mystical. For example, people would be shocked when they're shocked when I say, the wedding feast at Cana, that never happened. The raising of Lazarus never happened. I mean, really, but they happen in mystical language. And so powerful stories. The story of Lazarus, we use it all the time. It has such power, but it's not historical, it's not factual. And so if indeed, I'm not sure, that the 4th gospel was written out of the spirituality of the Essene community, then it's understandable that they will use mystical language in giving us that great genius 4th gospel. Not fact, mysticism. Okay.
Thank you, Father Joe. So we just need to introduce Father Joe to everybody here on the call tonight, and to you, Rosemary, and to others. We just drove 777 miles in the last 2 days to come here to Wisconsin. Father Joe started a Catholic worker house in Little Omro, Wisconsin, outside of Oshkosh 13 years ago. And we're celebrating a big event for him this Saturday. His birthday was this year. We're not going to say how old he was, but it's called his piano birthday. And so those of you who know how many keys there are know how old he is. And we have been standing next to and in all of Father Joe's wisdom for many years. And just one of the slices of his life was his study in the Vatican. So it's the reason Noel wanted to ask that question about what was in the library and what got out of the library and what came out of the library.
They got aliens in there.
So
Yeah, Rosemary, thank you for your presentation on angels. I get visited, am I on?
yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Father Joe.
I get visited by angel Gabriel, and I got a visit last night. I think it was about 2:30, and I don't make a big deal of it, but that's how I explain it. Out of nowhere comes this. So I'm making a big decision to give a lecture in Worcester, Massachusetts, at the Catholic Worker Gathering there. It's a National Catholic Worker Gathering. And Angel Gabriel says, "You can do it, because I didn't want to go out and be in front of all those scholars and present. Who am I? One of my favorite expressions from the Bible, it comes from, I'm not sure which gospel it is, but somebody says, "What good can come out of Nazareth?" That little hick town, referring to Jesus. And so now here we are. What good can come out of Omro? 1,000 people, and here I'm being called, Joe Matern, to give a talk at a national gathering. So what good can come out of Omro? Well, we'll see. Anyway, I'm just working out.
I think a lot of good, Father Joe. You've helped so
We might
many.
have to do another road trip.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
right.
see that Rita has her hand up. Another CCCer from a while ago. And Rita, go ahead and take it away. Welcome.
Thanks,
So good to
Noel.
see you.
Greetings, Noel, Bob, and Rosemary. Look, I made it. Thanks for this lovely presentation. I'll just make it short and sweet. I think it's the Essenes would be, as well as many of our ancestors, would just be tickled and delighted that here we are using this amazing technology in 2022 to share ancient wisdom. And the connection to nature is just so present and so alive. Some of the language, some of the words that are expressed might feel a little old-fashioned, so to speak, but the essence of the Essenes really comes through. And I, for one, who've been accused of being kind of a orbit head in terms of sometimes my mind is all over the place. I like the idea of a daily sort of theme, so to speak, couched in the realm of the angels, with body connections to nature, the inner, the outer. It's just a very sweet and complete offering. So glad to be here. Happy to know that everyone continues carrying on. Oh, the dog agrees. So thank you. Holly.
Thank you, Rita. And Rita is an amazing artist. And I still remember some of her art that she brought. And speaking of artists, we also have Joe Beal on here, who does a daily meditation on peace and art that she shares. Joe, how did this appeal to you? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Well, I totally loved it, of course. Rosemary, you may remember I did a whole thing last year on Essene communions for weeks. And I'm just trying to bring that up, but that is somewhere I've so wanted to be able to commune with you on the Essenes. So this was
I
fabulous.
do remember that, Joe. Beautiful, beautiful sharings. Yeah.
Yeah. And Bob and Noel know that I have a long-standing commitment on Thursdays, so this was really quite a big deal to to make it here for you, my dear.
Hi, thank you so much for your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, the angel of wisdom is right there with you.
So,
Are there other questions, Noel?
yeah,
Because
I have
I have something to share, if possible, this is translated from the original text found in the caves of Qumran, and it comes actually from the Dead Sea Scrolls, from the Book of Hymns of the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's
okay.
really
I
quite
know that
profound.
Dr. Pamela wanted to say something, so we could have her, and then would you do that? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you. That was so beautiful. And I love the idea of, how the tree of life provides a certain structure to help us, like Joe mentioned, because I think in our lives today, which are so busy and so overwhelmed with so many different things, it's nice to have kind of a pattern of flow. And certainly the work that I do with the Blueprint for the Human Spirit provides that for me. And it's very compatible with what you have shared today, of course. And I wanted to delve into just briefly about the idea of angels and the forces or the powers, so to speak, that are a part of that, because I think we as humans have put human faces, so to speak, we projected human faces on energy in many different ways, in many different levels, in many different realms. And, we see or understand, perhaps is a better word, energy, angelic energy, nature energy. We have put a face on God, on the devil, on negative things as well as positive. And certainly we are projecting that human qualities to a certain degree. And, but I do believe that what the powers that are there are certainly part of the whole and part of what we experience and understand just in our human way. So I have a different understanding of energy, because I know that we are one, where it's all part of the big whole. But it's a beautiful way to understand these different powers. We can see it and feel it and know it at the depths of our being. So thank you. And have we lost our speaker?
I'm actually, thank you. Thank
Oh,
you,
there
Pamela.
you. Oh,
yeah, no, my computer died.
Oh,
Or my
okay.
computer went to sleep.
There
So
you
thank
are.
gosh I have Michael here with his computer. So I